All right, so the A1, last we spoke, beloved, the nozzle was clogged, and so I was doing cold pull after cold pull after cold pull. See, I got it down here on the track. Cat, don't do that. Cold pull after cold pull and getting, it's unlikely to really focus in. Just garbage like this, and surprising lot of it. And I'm thinking it has to do with maybe I was running this filament a little too hot, a little too cold, not sure, but we're back in action. We went ahead and got a successful benchy out of it. So nozzle issues resolved there. Over here on the P1P, we're trying some experiments with different types of supports. Now you can probably see, like last I said, the supports look kind of diseased. They kind of look like that cheese that mites eat through. I've been having a lot of supports with, I've been having a lot of issues with supports on these character models, and I was reading somewhere that someone said to reduce the layer width or the line width on supports by about half of what your default is. And so that's what I'm trying, and that's what I imagine is contributing to it looking like that. But I had a failure, and so I increased the total support wall loops to try to compensate for that. The supports that were there until it failed came off very easily. So I'm optimistic about it, but I'll just have to keep tinkering with it back and forth. It is really surprising to me that everyone contributes. And again, thank you for contributing your support settings for these models. But it's like there's so much conflicting information. And if you start reading threads and Reddit threads and things like that, everyone has their own secret recipe for excellent supports, different filaments, do this and that and the other. And so I'm just trying to hone it in and find out what actually is going to work, because I've tried a ton of combinations and nothing's given me exactly what I need. So I'll keep hacking away at it. So what's going on here? Last we spoke, again, I was setting up this shelf here to put my Cobras on because I've got the Orange Storm Giga. And that's what's sort of, necessitating, causing me to kind of move things around. This spot of tape here is kind of the outline where the Giga will go. I had my Cobras all lined up here, but, I can't fit the Giga there and my big printers. Plus, I have the SV08 coming. I've got the P1P, the A1. I want to put them all in here. But this is a double garage. My wife parks here, and I really, I've got extra room, but I kind of really just want to keep everything here, mainly because I like having everything in one place and because of this shot right here. The main issue was that the Cobras are so big. I was hopeful I could maybe squeeze 3 per shelf, but that's just not in the cards. It's not going to happen. This is how it's going to be. And so that kind of leaves me at a loss of what to do, because if I put the other 2 Cobras here and I have the Giga there, then where do I put the A1, the P1P, the SV08? Where? I'm not peppering these things. I'm not sowing my wild printer oats all around my house. So I had another idea, and I'm hopeful you can tell me why it's a good or bad idea. My idea is to take those 2 Cobras. Once that one's done printing, then I'll move it. But to take them up. This is obviously, I could move this shelf down a little bit because I don't need 30 inches of clearance for those other Core XY machines. But if I put the Cobras up here, obviously I'd need like a step ladder to get up to them. But since the Cobras are often doing prints like this, which take many, many days, I feel like the traffic in and out of the Cobras is not going to be nearly as much as the Bambus, the Soval, the A1. I could get away with putting it up there. And again, this garage is air conditioned. And someone was asking very astutely, how often does the garage door open? Once per day when she leaves and once per day when she comes back, like an hour later. So it doesn't get opened all that much. And because that unit is only serving this garage, which is roughly a little over 400 square feet, it's not like it's a big shock in temperature. Plus, with what I'm printing on the Cobras, I've usually got a lot of brim, and I just don't think if it does present an issue, then I can explore other options in the future. But I can't start working on that until that's done, so it gives me time, because I'll upload this video tomorrow, and then I'll give people time to say like, oh no, don't put them up top, because it's going to be a big pain in the ass to kind of walk up there on a step ladder to service the machines. But it would allow me to fit all my machines here and have the Giga and a little bit of space to put all my spools and supplies and junk and garbage all concentrated in here. I have this nice YouTube shot of all my stuff in one place. I've got my power outlets there. I stole power from another part of the house and brought it over. I've got this power here, so everything's all square there. And it keeps it all confined to this side of the garage, so there's no interference with parking. I'm kind of optimistic about that plan. I'm a little excited. I would have to get another piece of MDF. I actually think I have a piece of MDF that would fit this perfectly. And actually what I didn't kind of go over this. This is floating on a sponge, or it's like door sealer for doors and jambs and things like that. So the whole thing is riding on it. Now I did come up underneath with some plumber tape and kind of pull it and secure it down, but not too much because it kind of defeats the purpose of the foam for its vibratory detonating qualities. But I really do need to keep it in place. So the whole thing's floating on that. And you might say like, well, you're supposed to, I've seen other people that you're supposed to cut it to where it fits and sits in the rail. I wasn't really confident about making a cut that clean with that amount of precision, especially 8 feet long. I don't have a rail, or I don't have a festal to really do that. And honestly, I kind of like it riding up top anyway versus, kind of cutting in there. Because if it was kind of a little bit off, then there may be issues of it sliding down in. But that's just me. That's my justification and my excuse for laziness. And it's all right. Again, the Cobras are going to run slow. The Core XY machines are basically like compartmentalized where nothing really bothers them anyway. So I'm fine with that. It's just, should I put the Cobras on top or not? Because I can't put the Core XY machines up there. I don't want to put them down there. The Cobras, I think it's a good idea. Additionally, after much toil, I was able to get these JST connectors, a little crimping tool. Never done it before. And I was able to perform the repair on the print head for the extruder motor here on the Cobra 2 Max. Came out, got a little benchy here. It came out just fine. This is the one that's like default loaded in the machine. Came out just fine, so very happy about that. That's another feather in my cap, I guess. 3D print update for the afternoon of today. I'm gonna throw it to my future self tomorrow morning to see what happened, what worked out, and take it away. Thanks, Matt from the past. It is now Tuesday, October 22nd, checking in to see what happened over the past roughly 12 hours. All right, so Cobras are quiet, and I was asked, all right, and so yesterday I was asking everybody, what do you think? Should I put my Cobras up on the top rack? And usually when I ask that, it means I've already made up my mind because the Cobras are up there. I did it like pretty much immediately after sort of filming that. So I gotta go up a little step ladder here, but that's not that bad of a sort of thing. I'm not sure if that'll get old, but we're doing the lid here for the big atomic bomb. We'll get into why that is. And down here on the A1, that's kind of another story. Yesterday, I was kind of lamenting that I had a nozzle clog. I actually fixed the nozzle clog. Where's the benchy? Where did I put the benchy? Where's the benchy? Hello? Anyway, the point is that I fixed the A1. It was a nozzle clog. I pulled out pieces over and over again. And so I was like, okay, let's move it out here. I've got this other roll of matte rainbow from Chi2 Systems, promo filament for me to test out. They didn't pay me anything, but they sent me free filament. If you want some, link in the description below. So I started printing this here D20 cube with the rainbow matte PLA. And as you can see, it started screwing up. And then I got an error that there's something wrong with the extruder, and as I was kind of manually extruding it, it looked like it was kind of clogging up again. So I did get a replacement hot end for the A1. It's not a Bambu hot end. It's from Amazon because Bambu takes 3 days, and seriously, Bambu, you got to start selling replacement parts on Amazon or something, because waiting 3 days for stuff, I know that a lot of people are like, well, everyone wants instant gratification. You just can't wait. No, I can't wait. I'm doing videos and stuff. I got to keep moving, dude. So Bambu, really, I understand if you don't want to sell the printers or the filament on Amazon, but replacement parts and stuff like that, come on, you're letting other people slide in. So I'm not sure if that replacement hot end nozzle will be, problematic on its own, but I did get that. I'm going to swap that in today, and hopefully I can get back up and running, because again, I don't want to blame this filament. It seems to be a hot end, and I'm running this at, exactly the temperature that it says, but everyone's saying like, you got to do hotter on silk filament. Well, this isn't silk, this is matte, and this says to run at 220 at 100 millimeters per second, which is exactly what I'm doing And looks like from the get-go, it was like going maybe a little too hot there. But, you know, in my view, it should just kind of work. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want the top to collapse. So I did this insane infill because, you know, whatever, it's free filament and I plan on giving this away. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to even print one before I'm able to give it away. Finally, over here is the top of our little boy atomic bomb. And as you can see, doing it with hollow, no infill whatsoever, kind of a mistake because it started to fail here at the top. It's just not a fine enough layer height for it to make that curve, I guess. And so what I did was like, this is just a ton of filament. I mean, it's pretty big. So I stopped and I'm trying to just kind of eyeball it and print the top, glue it in place. And if I've got to like smooth it out a little bit, because this is like a big version of this model. And, you know, when it's big like this, I think the fine detail is going to be, again, of secondary concern. And what I mean by that is with the art models, I'm kind of, I won't say abandoning, but I'm kind of, you know, sort of coming to accept that I'm not going to be able to make things like this and just stamp them out of a press without a lot of post-production. Now, I hate doing post-production, but I do like money. So I'm really on the art models, like the big art prints, and even somewhat with the character models, just kind of going to accept like you're going to have to paint parts of it. You're going to have to glue parts of it together. You're going to have to do some post-production. But I'm just going to price that in because, you know, again, I'm not Jeff Bezos here, but I do believe it's super duper important to value your time correctly. Like I was looking at some other creators that do large prints, not just M3, but some other people that were doing large prints. If I can find the video, I'll put a screenshot here. This guy printed with Bambu printers a whole bunch of small parts to make a Pokemon. I think it was coughing, the one that's like bombs that float around with a cloud of smoke, like he's smoking too many cigarettes. It took him a ton of time, and he ended up, I think it was something like hundreds of hours that it took him to print all the parts, glue them all together, sand it all down, Bondo it, paint it, and made this pretty cool looking large model of a Pokemon. And at the very end of the video, and that's kind of what I was really going for, like, okay, how much time did it take you and how much are you charging for this thing? And at the very end of the video, he's like, okay, I listed this thing for $2,500. And I said, you know, that's pretty good, I guess. I wouldn't put in that much time for $2,500. You know, and that's a lot of money to a lot of people. But for me, it's like my patience and my time. I would get to that 100-hour mark and being like, I did all this for $2,500. There's got to be an easier way. But still, if you're into art and it's, you know, fun for you, I understand that. But he said he's listed it for $2,500, and it's like, luckily my friend really liked it and he's buying it. And that just reeks of bullshit to me. He's like, oh yeah, my friend bought it. Like, I have a hard time believing that that someone would pay $2,500 for that thing. So again, kind of reeling back, you know, going back to square here. These large prints, I am kind of constantly trying to think about, you know, how much time is it really going to take, because like the big bomb here, really only have to print the parts and glue it together and put one coat of paint on it and maybe touch up a few small places. And, you know, because it's large, it commands a higher price, because in the end, it'll be a larger version of this, which will sit in the corner of a room. And if you're into militaria or really into atomic bombs, then maybe that's cool for you. So again, that's kind of why I'm looking at functional prints more, of things that I can stamp out. And it's kind of hard to document that process, because art prints are certainly make for better thumbnails, and people like to see that kind of thing. With functional prints, I don't even have a functional print laying around, but you know, let's just say that this is a functional print. If I hold this up in a thumbnail, like 3D printing my new snippers, you know, is that as impressive as 3D printing my new atomic bomb? You get what I'm saying here, because again, media is a part of this. I have to attract new subscribers, attract new viewers, because, you know, media is a big part of really anything in today's world, and it is evident here with the amount of people that are subscribing. So certainly want to look to functional prints and scaling into that. Art prints, not sure I can really scale them as easily, but like this, you know, I didn't do any post-production. And so if this is a popular item at this size, then yeah, I could stamp these out of a press, throw them on Etsy, and just sell a whole boatload of them for $30, $40. But like that, the big version, that's going to be like 3-4 feet tall, that's not going to be $40. $40. That's going to be probably $700 or $800, I would think, after all said and done, because it is big and it takes a lot of filament, and you know, it's pretty impressive. It's a pretty cool item. So anyway, on the to-do list for today is to get the SV08. It came in, get it set up on the rack. Once I determine like how much space it really needs, then I will move the P1P next to it with the 2 AMS units, and then determine how much space that really needs, because then I'll be able to tell whether or not I'm going to be able to fit the A1 on the same shelf, because the bottom shelf is reserved for the 2 Cobras. Once I make sure, absolutely sure, that the 2 Cobras on top are printing without any issue, then I can put the 2 Cobras on the bottom, because I don't want to be without at least 2 Cobras that are ripping and roaring to go. And then at that point, I've got everything on that shelf. I could put in my supply shelf, and then I could have all that room ready for the Orange Storm Giga once it rolls in, and then we'll be in a nice situation. So again, appreciate everybody stopping by and following me along in this journey. I appreciate every single comment, good and bad. Give me your hate comments, give me your love comments, or just share along in the journey and keep giving me your advice, because this is certainly an education. I'm forced to tinker as much as I hate doing it. I'm learning quite a lot along the way. I've never made a JST connector before. I've dealt with electronics for a long time, but never crimped and made a new one before, so that's another feather in the cap. Very grateful for that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I am The Technicals. See you next time.